Hello, today I have a Pete the Cat story for you. You may have heard of Pete the Cat. I love my white shoes. I love my white shoes. Do you remember this one? And you may remember or be familiar with when Pete the Cat had to go to school and choose his cool clothes. And this is the story we have today, and it's got to do with buttons. Yeah, bigger buttons, smaller buttons made of wood, all right, made of metal. So let's see what happens with buttons in this story. And it's Pete the Cat and his 4 groovy buttons. A story by Eric Ludwin, illustrated by James Dean, the creator of Pete the Cat. And as we open the story, we meet Pete the Cat. Where is he? He's sitting. Let's see where. We see lots of buttons, green, red, yellow, blue. Pete the Cat and his 4 groovy buttons. It's in the morning. It's 8 o'clock in the morning. And Pete is thinking of 4. He's wearing his favorite shirt with 4 groovy buttons. Blue and navy blue and green and red. And he loved his buttons so much that he sang a song. Now we can see that he was sitting in his armchair and he's singing, my buttons, my 4 groovy buttons, my buttons, my 4 groovy buttons. And just then, look what happened. The button on top, the blue button, popped off and rolled away. How many buttons are left? There were 4, and now there are 1, 2, 3. So 4 minus 1 makes 3. 1, 2, 3. Now, how is Pete feeling? Is he angry? Is he sad? Is he worried? He's thinking of 3. Did he cry? Goodness, no. Buttons come and buttons go. And he kept on singing. My buttons, my 3 groovy buttons. My buttons, my 3 groovy buttons. And now again, as he is skateboarding, one of the buttons, the one on top, the navy blue button, popped off and rolled away. Now, he could have stopped and looked for the button and then sew it back. But did he do that? Not really. Not really. He went on singing. My buttons, my 2 groovy buttons. My buttons, my 2 groovy buttons. Because buttons come and buttons go. As he was having an ice cream, 2 scoops, 1 chocolate scoop and a strawberry scoop, he lost his green button. It popped off and rolled away. Oh no! Another button popped off. How many buttons left? He used to have 2, and now there is only 1. 2 minus 1 makes 1. Did he cry? Goodness, no. Buttons come and buttons go. He kept on singing, my button, my one groovy button, my button, my one groovy button. He's still quite happy about it. Oh no! He lost his last button, the red one. Now he's got 0. 1 minus 1 is 0. He has no buttons on his shirt. Did he cry? Goodness, no. Buttons come and buttons go. He looked down to see his belly button. His belly button. And that cannot come off. My buttons, my button, my own belly button, my button, my own belly button. It's all good, he says. This goes to say that buttons come and buttons go. Things come and go. We may lose them. It's very good to look for them and see if we can repair or do something about it. But if we can't, rather than crying, it's a very good idea to sing and to tell others how we feel and what happens to us. So, Pete still has his own belly button. He doesn't have the red button, doesn't have the green button, doesn't have the navy blue button, doesn't have the blue button. Buttons. And this is the story of Pete the cat and his 4 groovy buttons. Hope you like the story.